So welcome to the sixth session. We'll begin with a fourth verse, this time sung by Pandit Ramesh Narayan. Please listen carefully.
Na punyam na papam na sakhyam na dukkham na punyam na papam na sakhyam na dukkham na punyam na papam na punyam na papam na sakhyam na dukkham na punyam na papam na sakhyam na dukkham na mantra na tirtham na veda na yajna aham bhojanam na vabhojam na bhokta aham bhojanam Bhojam na bhokta Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham 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 Shivoham
So we were halfway through the seventh chapter. We'll finish that and hopefully we'll try to finish chapter 8. So we were on the topic of the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 steps, 8-fold path traditionally in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. What are the 8 steps? Starting with Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana. We stop with Dharana and the next topic is Dhyana. Now the whole thing is meditation, but Dhyana is officially the meditation. The ability to enter into and hold one-pointed concentration, Dharana, leads naturally to the practice of meditation, dhyana. There are many methods of practice. The Gita provides only simple and broad instructions to enter a calm state of inner stillness and thereby be yoked, yukta, not only while sitting in meditation, but staying yoked as often as possible. One has to learn to develop and inculcate a meditative poise at all times. A general question, why meditate? So the immediate benefits are 1, relaxation, stress reduction. It actually improves your health. Your blood pressure will go down. You'll feel much better off. Improving immunity, activation of healing powers of the body. When we are stressed, really we are vulnerable to all kinds of illnesses. And you know, all illnesses are interrelated. Physical, mental, There are some more benefits. If you practice, for example, mindfulness meditation, you learn to value the present moment. So being more present, less pulled by the outer world, less reactive, feeling more at home in our bodies and ourselves, peaceful. These are short term. What are the long term benefits? Not the ultimate, but kind of slightly middle range, further down. If you practice daily, which is what we want you to do, though. Concentration, better concentration. Improving intuition. You're feeling it? You hope it will. Okay? Yes? More stable. Otherwise you're unstable? Yes, you're right. Increased focus, yeah. Calmness. Are these small goals what meditation is all about? Making us temporarily feel better, less stressed, more peaceful and healthy, a bit more present? No, there's some more benefits. Stable attention, that's what we are trying to practice. Mindful awareness, meditative joy. That you'll realize once you cross the 6th stage of meditation. So there is a joy, a super sensuous joy, a joy that money can't buy, which is different from peace. There's a real joy in sitting in stillness and sustained concentration. These are some long-term. Knowing and going beyond the default operations of the ego self, that's the biggest advantage. See, our normal life, our daily life, and I can see it on your faces, is one of struggle. Yes or no? Why do we struggle? We struggle. All the time we struggle. Yes or no? Even you struggle. Why?
It's the reality of it.
Reality of life is struggle?
Life is struggle.
Not necessarily. Life is hard. But why do we feel so messed up? There's a perennial wantingness, trishna. It's never ending. You satisfy something, something else will pop up. Now you have a quiz week, right? It's getting over mercifully. But it's not that. Somehow we are not happy with the way things are unfolding. We want a few things. Sometimes we want hazar things. We want things, we want circumstances, we want people to what? We want people to respect us. We want people, acknowledge us. No, we want people to dance to our tunes, much more than respecting. We want people to make us happy. We expect. We want circumstances to be favorable. But it doesn't happen that way. It's a tidal wave. You can't demand that the lower half of that wave can be eliminated. We wish it could be eliminated. Sometimes we would love to have certain people completely out of our lives. Yes or no? Yes. Wow. And you're right. You had the courage to say it out. Most people keep it secret. But when it's really strong, you have to say it out. But wait a minute. They also want some of us out of their lives. So it's not. But sometimes you can't do that. I mean, it's not so easy. It could be your spouse. It could be your in-laws. It could even be your parents. It could be your siblings. It could be your boss. It could be your subordinate. It could be your neighbor. It could be your colleague. Usually it's one of these. But then you'll find that even if somehow they get out of your lives, somebody else will come in and take their place. So it really doesn't make a difference. Things don't work out the way we want. Have you noticed? It's a roller coaster sometimes, and that's a problem. We also tend to identify a lot with that persona, the outer self, and that's always in a state of insecurity. It always wants. Its fundamental quality is wantingness, instability if the want is not satisfied. And then you start having aversion. It's a natural consequence of wanting. Uncontrolled wanting is guaranteed to give aversion. And that's the previous chapter. Krishna answers Arjuna's question, why sometimes we do terrible things even when we know it's wrong. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guna samudbhavam. It's coming from untempered rajas. So we have ill will against people, and sometimes we have ill will against ourselves also. We get frustrated. There are some real bad times where we just want to quit. Want to quit our jobs, to quit the marriage. We want to somehow get the hell out of wherever we are. We don't want to be in the present moment. We want to escape. So that happens. But that's on the negative side. You kind of go beyond. How do you go beyond? There are examples in our daily lives. Some people choose careers which will help them go beyond. Sports is one domain where you can go beyond. Why do people take to deep sea diving? They skydive. Why? What happens when you skydive? You kind of jump off and let go and you don't know where the hell you're. It's free fall. Right? But there's a thrill in that free fall. Have you noticed? What's the thrill in the free fall? Have you done it? You've done it, no? What's the thrill you felt when you just jumped off?
You don't know. It's like death. You don't know if you're going to come out of it or like that kind of unreal feeling.
Yeah, but there's some kick you get out of it, no? Yeah, it's a great kick. It's like suddenly you discover a larger you, not the narrow, constricted, self-centered, self-obsessed, frustrated, ever-wanting individual. You kind of lost everything and you're kind of floating out there. You get the same feeling whenever you feel expanded. I kind of experience this every day in the morning on my terrace. So beautiful. The freshness of the morning. Every morning, 3 parrots promptly fly across overhead. I can hear them. I can hear the chirping of the birds. And I see, now it's a little late, at 6:30 a red sky dawning on the eastern side and a beautiful red sun climbing up in the horizon. And some time back we had a full moon. You could see the moon and the sun at the same time. And every day you see the moon is receding and becoming smaller. And soon it's going to be aligned with the sun and dampen out. It's mind-blowing. There's no you there. So it's a feeling of vast expansiveness and freedom from the narrow self. It's easy. It's something all of us can experience, and we'd love to experience, because what are you dropping? You're dropping that obsession with the guy who's subject to perennial wanting and aversion. That's gone temporarily. That's a huge breakthrough. On the positive side, developing empathy, compassion, because if you're really free from this, then only you can listen to other people. Then only you feel other people's situations. Empathy, compassion, loving kindness, forgiveness. Some more long-term benefits: discovering our authentic true self, which you mentioned. Discovering unification, that's great. Which means, if you want to attend this class, every part, every cell in your body will be wanting to attend the class. There's no, the wild horses pulling me in different directions. That's not an easy state. That's a unified state. When you sit down, every part of your body wants to sit down. It's a very blessed state. In fact, that's the only way you can get complete harmony. You have to win over the repelling parts of yourself, not by applying force, but they kind of give in and they succumb to the power, the conscious power of something superior. And as a result, there is unconditional freedom. That's something difficult for many of us to even understand. It's a freedom from the ego. See, we are all caught in some prison. The prison is either an external prison, it's a job you're in, it's the engineering program that you never wanted, but somehow you were pushed into it, you know it. It's a marriage you got into and you don't know how to get out. All kinds of external prisons are there, but there are also internal prisons. You know that something inside you is blocking some growth. You feel constricted, you feel caught up. So those bars, thinking itself is a prison, isn't it? Non-stop thinking. It's a huge prison. You're not able to break that. So there's a freedom from that. And it's fantastic. Nobody can take that freedom away from you. Suddenly, here what you wanted is, you said you wanted that person out of your life. You wanted external circumstances to change. You wanted the Kurukshetra to be some other kshetra. But here you realize that everything is perfect and beautiful just the way it is. Circumstances don't change, but you change. Yesterday I was in a college talking to a lot of girl students, and they gave their common problem. It says, my mother keeps shouting at me. Then I said, what do you do? So it gets worse. I said, how does it get worse? She says, I talk back. So I said, do you just talk back or you shout back? And she said, I shout back. Now, supposing you've got into this stage, I'm just giving an example, which they could relate to very easily. That you realize that your mother is stressed for various reasons. Okay, you have to take care of the kitchen. You have to take care of the kids. You have to take care of a difficult husband. You have to take care of aged people in the house. And you don't have any spare time. You're busy slogging it out. And the least you expect is somebody to listen to you. But everybody is. So you need empathy to be able to understand why your mother is shouting at you. And let's say you had that empathy and you didn't shout back and you received that shouting, and your love for your mother is so strong that you don't react the way you normally do. What would happen? First of all, your mother would feel grateful to have a daughter like you. And secondly, she herself would change. So we suddenly realize that everything in life has come with a meaning, a purpose, and our real challenge is to understand it and move ahead. So there is unconditional love, and most important, an unconditional trust. What does that mean? Can someone tell me? What is this unconditional trust? What is unconditional trust? It's a faith that everything is fine and that things will work out the way they will work out despite your worrying about them. It's a faith in divinity. It's a faith that there is an inner guide which can help you sail through any situation. And it's unconditional. A fatalist says everything is fate. So, you're reconciled. Why should I do any work? Fate will take care of it. You heard of Pythagoras had a theory like this. Pythagoras are one of those Greek philosophers. So, it seems he ordered a meal. He had in his house, he had cranes. Crane? What's a crane? A crane is a bird which sometimes can sit or stand in one leg. So the cook prepared a meal for him. When he was having the meal, he found that there was only one leg. So why is there only one leg? Then the cook thought he was very smart. He says, look at that crane there, there's only one leg. Pythagoras, guy who gave the theorem and all that, he said, forget it. He was so angry, he took out a stick and started beating the cook. Cook was extra sharp, probably IIT student. Cook said, stop master, by your own theory of fatalism, this was fated to happen. Understand? That I would cook a meal in which I will have one of the legs and you will have the other. So Pythagoras was in a fix, he was kind of caught at his own game. Then he stopped midway. After some time, he continued beating him. Why did he do that? He said, this is also fated. So, fatalism is a very unoptimistic approach to life. We are talking of joy and love and trust, and we are talking of a trust that comes from that freedom. Does fatalism come from freedom? So it's the liberation that gives rise to this trust. And there's a positivity in that. That means everything is happening for good, and sometimes bad things also happen for good. Do you understand? You lose a battle to win a war. And you are not being fatalistic because there are things you need to do. So there's no excuse here. So fatalism is, it's good to be fatalistic after an event. But bad if you're going to think about fatalism before you engage in any work. Why should I study? I'll get the marks I'll get. That's stupid fatalism. So we don't use that word at all in the Gita, the word called fatalism, because there are many factors that influence any outcome. And it is true that people who have trikala drishti can possibly see into the probabilistics, mechanics of which outcome is likely to unfold in the future. But in a way it's good, we don't know what the future has in store for us. So this is not fatalism. Okay? Right. So let's move ahead. Living an inspired life in the zone. That's fantastic, You're always full of radiance, you're sthita pratnya, you're centered, manifesting our authentic life purpose, staying spiritually awakened, serving as a means for awakening others. That's what we expect from students like you. Not easy, actually very difficult. Okay, so let's see the verse.
Yada viniyatam chittam आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा.
When his mental activity is under control, yada viniyatam chittam. Mental activity under control. And he stays anchored in self-awareness. Atmani eva avatisthate. Free from craving for all objects of desire. Nihaspriha sarva kamebhyaha. Then he is said to be established in yoga. Yukta iti uchyate tada. It's a very high state. It's a state where the only desire left is a divine desire, and your ego-centered desires have kind of fallen off. This is the ultimate state. This is where dhyana leads us to. The key word is viniyatam chittam, under control. Yukta. Yukta is being yoked. Okay, so before we continue, the object of meditation here is the divine in its many forms, individual, universal or transcendental. The form or level so conceived to be divine depends on the stage of the evolving spirit in the one who meditates. So different people meditate for different reasons and are at different levels. The purpose here is not seeking fulfillment of some desire or wish to be fulfilled. This is what makes meditation different from prayer, which is often a petition of some kind. The aim of meditation is simply to commune with the divine, to be thus spiritually yoked, yukta. In this condition, the separate ego self gets dissolved in a state of pure awareness, found essentially free of all kinds of outside objects, seen or thought or felt to be involved. While prayer calls for the divine to listen to one's prayer, meditation calls for one to listen to the divine. In dharana, one concentrates upon a specific object of meditation, undistracted otherwise. By other objects and all the relentless chattering of the mind. As concentration deepens, a stage comes when there is no longer any separation, distancing the subject from its seeming object. What remains is one and that alone. This resonant condition of perfect yoking is implied by dhyana in Raja Yoga practice. It is as though the subject dissolves into the object, which could be either internal or external. So here's a beautiful poem by the Chinese poet Li Po. It goes like this, Li Po talks from personal experience. He sits in the field and he looks at the mountain, and this is what he writes. The birds have vanished into the sky, and now the last clouds fade away. We sit together, the mountain and I, until the mountain remains. Look at this. We sit together, the mountain and I, until. So what happens to I?
So it is actually describing the fragility of human life and the time reference of like mountain with respect to human nature.
Okay, that's your interpretation. But what happened to the I?
Fades away. Fades away.
I gets absorbed in the object of meditation. So the mountain here symbolizes the impersonal universal divine. It is no object, but instead a state of open and wide consciousness capable of extending through and thus embracing the entire universe. Entering into such wideness is also possible in meditations that do not necessarily call for one-pointed concentration on a single object. So that's called objectless meditation. We'll move on to page 91. In Patanjali's system of Raja Yoga, success in dhyana ends in a state of blissful trance and complete absorption called samadhi. Following this, all action and work fall off and lose importance. It is here that the yoga of the Gita differs significantly in the meaning and purpose of samadhi. As explained by Sri Aurobindo, its idea of samadhi is quite different from the ordinary notion of the yogic trance. And while Patanjali gives to works only an initial importance for moral purification and religious concentration, the Gita goes so far as to make works the distinctive characteristic of yoga. This is a huge difference. And this makes a distinct difference between what the Bhagavad Gita recommends and what is often treated as an ascetic approach to spirituality, where you do the minimum work needed to get to self-realization. After that, there's no need to work. Samadhi is the ultimate. But that's not the Gita's approach. Work needs to be done. And actually you do it much more efficiently, much better once you've learned to master meditation. Work, according to the Gita, continues even after self-realization, but now performed by the higher nature, para prakriti or shakti, working through one's instrumentation, not by the ego self or lower nature. It is then that spirituality at work attains its pristine form.